Hello friends, in this video I'm going to talk about something that you should be aware about, the immigration attorney. Immigration attorneys are delaying your applications on purpose. The reason is that they know everything about your application. When you ask an immigration attorney to prepare an application, whether it is for a visa renewal or for a green card, they know everything about your case, right? They know all the deadlines. They know when your visa will expire, when your EAD cards will expire, when your employment authorization will expire, and so on. They also know how long it takes to process these applications. So, of course, the official dates are there on the USCIS website. You can check how long it takes for a green card in EB1 or EB2 or visa H1 visa application to get approved. But the attorneys also know the unofficial dates because they have been dealing with a lot of applications and they know based on the case that you get how complex or easy your case is or how quickly your application will get approved. So, since they know the deadlines, since they know when exactly, for example, your visa is going to expire, and they know how long it will take for your application to get approved, more or less, they generally time the applications such that you will have to use them for other purposes. So let me give you an example. Actually, I have three examples. So I'll start with my own case first. I was on an H1B visa working for an employer, and my visa was going to expire at some point of time. Now, before my visa was supposed to expire, like more than 6 months before my visa was going to expire, I sent uh, all the documents to my attorney, to my employer, I should say. That my employer hires an attorney to do the visa process. So I sent it to my employer, the HR in my employer, to start my renewal application. And they told me that okay, it actually takes you can only apply once it's 6 months is required. So when the 6 month deadline came, I reminded them that hey, you already have all the documents. Can you please send my renewal application? At that time, they said, oh yeah, we have started working on an application and we will send it soon. So I reminded them after 2 months again. I just inquired, have you sent my application yet? The answer was no. They gave me some reason and they were still working on my application. Well, this process kept going on and on. I kept reminding them every month, sometimes like every couple of weeks, and they still had not sent my application. In fact, they sent my application when only like 2 weeks were left. Okay. Now, since it was so close to my visa getting expired, I was very worried, I was very stressed, and I started contacting my employer, not just the HR, but other, my managers and everyone, telling them, hey, this is very important, what's going on? And at that time, the attorneys come back and say, hey, okay, yeah, we are ready to send your application now, but since only 2 weeks is left, it would be better if we do premium processing. And premium processing, of course, requires a lot more money, and we had to pay a higher fee to the attorney. So the attorney sent the application. It was a visa renewal, so there was nothing complex about the application. I had the same job, I had the same visa. I was just asking to be renewed, so it got approved very quickly. But what happened is that during this process, the attorneys made extra money. Let me tell you another story. This is the story of my friend and his wife who were going through the EB1B uh, green card process. So, my friend here was working for a university. He was on an EAD, also on an H1B visa, and he had applied for a green card. He has some understanding with his employer that the employer will file the petition, which is what is done in EB1B case. But my friend had to essentially take care of the expenses. So the attorney fees had to be paid by my friend, although it was an attorney which was through the university. Anyway, long story short, He applied for this green card, and his I-140 was approved. His I-485 process was going on, and he got an RFE about which asked for his medical, his birth certificates, and some other documents, just proving that he's still working for the same employer. Now, he got all these documents. People from India can relate to it very easily. Not all of us have birth certificates. So he had to contact people back in his home, get his birth certificate, which came through mail. He got copies of it, and then he sent it to the lawyer along with the medical certificate and the employment related documents. Now, the attorney replied to the RFP, and my friend was very happy that okay, the RFP had been replied to. He was expecting his green card within a few months. But after a few months, he got another RFP, and this time in the RFP, they were asking for the birth certificate. Well, my friend was quite angry and also kind of surprised that if the RFP asked for three documents, you are a lawyer, you're an immigration attorney whose job is to respond to RFPs. RFPs is clearly asking for three documents. How can you forget one of these documents? So, but the attorney basically said, oh yeah, whatever has happened has happened. A new RFP has come, so you have to respond to this RFP. If you want to respond to this RFP, we will charge you $1,000 or $2,000 more. So my friend, he had to pay extra money to get this RFP responded to, and then he finally got his green card. Let me tell you a third story. The story is of a friend again who is working in the US on an L1 visa. L1 visa is for people who are managers in multinational corporations. He applied for a green card through his employer, which had hired this external law firm. This law firm again knew exactly when his ED was going to expire, when his visa was going to expire, and so on. He got an RFE. The RFE asked that he needs to prove that he is working in a managerial position. So he's actually a manager dealing with people, dealing with budgets, and so on. Now, my friend had already gone through the L1 visa process. So he already had the documents where he proved that he was working as a manager, which allowed him to get the L1 visa. So he collected all that document and updated it with new emails and new information so that he had all the answers for the RFE questions. And then he gave it to his attorney to respond to the RFE. This was done within a few weeks. But the attorney did not actually send the response to the RFE. He delayed the application by a couple of months. My friend asked after a couple of months, hey, why haven't you responded? The attorney basically said, oh, this is a complex process. We are working on it, and maybe once we have gone through your application, once we have made sure that everything has been answered, we will send it out. So my friend waits another month. They said, okay, what's going on? And they say, give the same type of answers. And then finally, he's like, okay, can you show me what have you done? Have you changed my application? I mean, I'm the one who gave it to you, and we already have done the L1 visa process. So there's nothing really that has changed in the past 2 years. I'm still working on the same job. I still have the same portfolio. So I don't know what you're doing about it. And finally, the attorney, he had to actually get his attorney changed. The attorney was hired by the employer. He had to complain to the employer. The employer assigned him another attorney, which finally sent the RFP, the response out after almost 5 months. After his RFP was received, his case got approved within less than a month, which clearly means that that there was nothing complex about this application. What was complex is that his EAD and L1 visa deadline was very soon. So the attorney knew that his EAD and his visa is going to expire soon, and he was not able to travel. So When the deadline started approaching, he actually asked, "Oh, do you want us to reapply for your visa?" And at that time, my friend realized what was actually going on. And the visa renewal application cost about $6,000. So they wanted to send in the visa renewal application, the $6,000 that the attorney would have charged. And by the time the visa would have gone in a few weeks or maybe a few months, he would have got the green card anyway. So it would have not mattered whether he sent the visa application. It's just that the attorney would have made a lot of money. So the main point that I'm trying to convey here is that these attorneys, they know exactly what the deadlines of your visa, of your EAD, of your case, everything is. And what they try to do is they purposely delay your application so that if they are working on your green card application, at the same time they can apply for a visa renewal, which would, so you will have to pay them more money. They can make more money. And although most of the time, or at least sometime, the money is not coming out of your own pocket, it's your employer who is paying. But generally, you will have to go to the employer and ask them, hey, we need to do the visa renewal and all that, which costs money to the employer, which means that you lose your power to negotiate for a raise. You have been working for the company for 2 3 years, you want a raise, but you think that, oh, they are paying for my green card, they are paying for my visa renewal. How can I ask for more money when they're spending all this money on my application? So in most of the time, you don't really have much power on this. Your employer hires the attorney, and they choose who the attorney is going to be. You don't really have much say. But even just knowing this, that your attorneys are delaying your application on purpose so that they can extract more money out of employer. Just knowing this fact and maybe conveying it to your HR or your manager can help them hire better attorneys and not get into this game of paying too much money. Um, I have applied for my green card myself, so I know that some of these things are very simple. Responding to an RFE which asks for your birth certificate, it doesn't cost much money. It costs at most whatever you want to pay for your postage. If you want to pay $1 for your postage, that's it. If you want to, send a post which is tracked and which gives you a response, it might cost you $30. That's it, right? It doesn't cost thousands of dollars to respond to simple RFEs. If your applications are being delayed for unnecessary reasons, you should definitely talk to your employer and also talk to your attorney. Take an active role in the application process. Don't just trust whatever these attorneys say. Make your own decision. Talk to other people. I realized this very recently by talking to my friends. So I thought this is something that I should share. Uh, Thank you and see you in the next video. Bye.